Hi, it's Peter at Peter's Blooms. Today we're in the Redlands area of Miami-Dade County to check out Soroa Orchids and tour their nursery and see all of their beautiful blooms. So let's go check it out.
First, some background. Soroa Orchids is located southwest of downtown Miami, near Homestead, Florida. This area is called the Redland and is home to many orchid nurseries, including the now gone Fennell's Orchid Jungle, a roadside attraction dating back to the 1920s. The famous RF Orchids and Moats Orchids are still actively operating in this area. Soroa Orchids was founded by Jose Esposito in 1985. I found this old photo of Jose online with a group of other Redlands growers, including Dr. Martin Moats in the front row. Jose was recently featured on a Plant Pop video where he discussed immigrating from Cuba to the US during the 1980 Mariel boat lift and starting orchid collecting as a hobby that grew into a business. I'll post a link to this video in the description. I believe his nursery is named after the Soroa Orchid Garden in Cuba. In addition to running Soroa, Jose is the orchid curator at the historic Bonnet House in Fort Lauderdale. Soroa also participates in most of the orchid festivals in South Florida throughout the year. I'm heading down Chrome Avenue to Soroa Orchids from Miami. This goes along at 45 and I have to make this turn, so it's a little bit tricky. Let's see, here it is. All right, so I made it. Chrome Avenue is pretty busy, but it's early here. I think I'm the first one here, so let's go inside. So this setup's a little bit odd. Here's the front area. They have this kind of front courtyard with some potted plants and then this kind of hallway. I've never really seen this in use, but maybe they use it for some kind of parties. And then this front, they have a nice begonia here in bloom. And then this front area looks like a reception desk of some sort, but I've never seen anybody here and I've never seen it in use. But once you clear that, you get to their front garden area. And throughout this area, they have orchids in the trees. So this is kind of an oval loop of a walkway with this fountain in the center. So coming down, we see some Tourette leaf vandas, really nice looking. And then you come to this fountain area with have seating. So this is a very tranquil place with all these flowers in the trees and the bubbling water. And so that's really nice. And then their sales area is up ahead. But let me just go along the path. So in the trees, they have vandas, cattleyas. Since it's September, mid-September, mostly they probably have vandas at this point. There's a dendrobium, that's antler dendrobium, that's really nice. And I saw a Chanel plant in bloom. So coming around here, again, they have a lot of tropical plants. I think there's a ginger. And then they do have quite a few vandas out in front. That's really nice. And then also in the trees near the entrance, so it's a variety of vandas that they probably also have inside. So if you see something outside you like, you can check it out inside. So let's go around this one side of the path and I'll do the other side later when I come out. So here's a mini Palmer. Those smell great. Then in this middle area, they have various decorative features and additional orchids. That grammatophyllum up in that tree looks fantastic. So let's just take a look at how they have it arranged. So they also have some more dendrobiums and phalaenopsis orchids. And in this area, they have this fallen tree. I don't know when it fell, but they do decorate that in the spring with various orchids. Really pretty. And let's move around the path. So here they have various groves of these bamboo and then additional garden features. There's a very big grove of bamboo there, and then they have these elephant ear plants. They look very healthy as well. And then when you come back to this corner, they have these potted plants. This is the crown of thorns. So I don't know if they sell these. I've never seen any pricing on them. Let's see if they have some flowers. But they have quite a few of them back in this corner. And again, I'm not sure exactly what they use this area for, but potentially you could buy some of these plants, I suppose. And they do have some blooms on them. There's some pink ones. Over there, there's some red ones. Oh, look at that stem, full of thorns. But it has a flower on the top, so that's all right. But those are really pretty. Yeah, I like that one. But stay away from the thorns. And then here are the pink ones. It's nice. And let's see, what else? There's some white ones right there. So they do have a lot of different ones here. And there's a yellow one, just a little flower. So let's go back around, go down the path, and then head into the greenhouses and nursery. So additional flowering tropical bushes. And then the other side of this is where that tree is. So it's a garden feature, I think. Maybe it fell over in some storm that they didn't want to take it out. And then here again are those vandas. And then the fountain. So yeah, I mean, if it's nice out, you can sit out here and enjoy the bubbling fountain. More of the plants that they have. So I'll head down that path when I come out. And so this is where they have their sale plants. Actually, I don't see as much as they usually have, maybe because of the time of the year. Wow, this plant's really nice. But yeah, I think what I'll do is head into the greenhouses and then come back here. So this is beautiful. I'll have to see if they have this inside. I think it's a Orchid orchid. These hanging clusters of flowers. All right, so I got here early and skipped their front sales area, and I'm going to go through the greenhouse. So this is the main greenhouse where they have mostly the cattleyas and dendrobiums up front, and in the back they have their hanging orchids, kind of their jungle area. So I'll go through the front part first and then get to the back at the end of the video. All right, so let's get started. Right up front, they have a beautiful classic yellow and white cattleya. This is Hawaiian Island Bride 30, $65. You can see they also have it in bud, where there's 4 or 5 buds on each stalk. And so a beautiful cattleya. This is mid-September, so they don't have a lot of blooming plants, but they do have a lot that are really healthy and growing. And this next one is Platinum Charm. And then we have, this one is Elizabeth Hearn. So they have these tags that show a picture of the plant. And then next up is Cattleya Snowflakes, and that's followed by Taichung Beauty Cosmic Bowl, and then Pink Diamond. And as you can see, they're very healthy plants. On this side, they have one in bloom. This is the White Diamond, BLC White Diamond. That's a beautiful plant too. Again, a classic cattleya. Back on this side, they have Nakorn Kasi Delight Yen, and then Yen Surprise. And in each case, they have a dozen blooming sized plants with sheaths or spikes, or in some cases, buds. And then next up is Roland's Canyon Cocoa Head. And then finally, Oncidium Bipae. Then on this side we have Oncidium amplumatum, and then we have Fet racema 2, and then again the white diamond. They have quite a few of these. Myanmar sunset, and then Gulf green hairy pig. This is a JC AOS. And then they have Songqui charming. It's a beautiful plant. And then they have Fet Wangnam Kia. These are all Thai orchids, so I may be messing up the pronunciation. And then finally, Grammatophyllum scriptum. I think this is the same as they had out in the front. Then running down the next side, we have a beautiful orange and red Cattleya Rangnafa Fancy Warm Welcome. And they have several of those coming along in bud. And then they have Cattleya Portia, primary hybrid. And some of these are about to come out too. And then moving down, we have, these are Brassicatlia Soroa Sunlight. So this is one of their hybrids. And so they have a number of these in bloom. You can see that the colors vary between the different plants. Some have a lot of pink in the labellum and some don't. So a very delicate looking flower as well. They have quite a few of those down this line. And again, quite a few are in bloom or coming soon. So this one is a more white version. And let's see what's next. There's one more bloom coming up. And this is Morning Glory. So very dark purple labellum. This is very similar to the weed we used to have back at home that would take over the garden. You can see another one there, a little bit different. But again, very pretty, delicate flower on that one. And then this set is Hawaiian Ruby Paradise. And then finally, Nacron Cassie Delight number 3. So that finishes out this row. And again, there's a lot of them that aren't in bloom, but this is just part of the season. Okay, heading down the next row, we have Phalaenopsis equestris on sale for $25. I love these big pots. Those flowers are really nice. And then next up, we have Yingluck Smile Heart of Gold. That's a beautiful flower with that red trimming around the labellum. And then coming down, we have Siam Red. Again, another beautiful flower, very subtle colors. And then there's another one coming behind it. And then moving down, Nikon Chassis Delight 2, similar to the one on the other side, but a little bit different flaring, I think. Then, of course, Amazing Thailand. It's pretty common. Followed by Fet Python Ramatan. And then Amazing Thailand Rainbow. And then finally, Syriana by Taiyan City. Then at the end of the rows, they have this wire mesh where they hang their mounted orchids. So here they have Brassavola cordata orchids. And they're very nice. You can see they're in bloom, and some of them are in spike with blooms. They also have a lot of mounted orchids in the back, so I'll cover those towards the end of the video. And then at the other side, they have Dendrobium Miyake. These are kind of pendulent dendrobiums. Some of them have a little bit of flowers, but I think typically they have a cascade of flowers.
Going back to the other side at the beginning, they have oncidiums and dendrobiums for sale for $15. I don't see their tags. This one is Epidendrum floribundrum.
This is Mini Doris Red Dragon. You can see several of those are in bloom. Pretty nice little flower. And then on the other side we have Siam White the Best, another classic white and yellow Cattleya. They have quite a few of those. I don't see those in bloom. Back on this side, we have a number of other ones that are called Majestic Light by His Light by Hawaiian Lightning. Fairly complex hybrid. And then on this side we have one in bloom. This is a very pretty yellow and purple flower with the spots. This is called Jungle Eyes. I'm not sure if there's more than one bloom per stalk, but that's a really pretty mini cat. There's the tag for that. Really like that. I think I've seen that in other shows in some of the displays. That's a really pretty Cattleya. Then back on this side, we have another red and orange Cattleya, Zhongxin Panda Kingman. Quite a few of those. And then back at the end of this row, we have quite a few of them that are in bud. Let's see what this one is. Xinying Pink Doll Xinying. I have quite a few of those, and some of them are in bloom, so let's check out the flower. Looks like a purple flower. And let's see. So a purple flower with a dark purple labellum with a kind of yellowish orange stripe across it. It's pretty, really stands out. So they have a lot of those in bud and some in bloom here. And so that's really nice. And several blooms per stalk. You can see how many they have here. So those will all be coming up soon, very soon. Let's go check out the next row. And then these are a little bit smaller plants than the ones up front, but they're all look like they're all very healthy. And so this one is called Princess Paula Paradise. So they have a large collection of different Cattleyas, as you can see, and they'll be displaying them in the shows coming up. And of course you can stop by the nursery to pick them up. Many of these are in sheath, so they'd be blooming soon. This one's blooming. This is called Hawaiian Ruby Paradise. You can see the sign there. This are on sale for $35. I'm not sure. The blooming ones probably aren't, but that's a beautiful flower. Not quite as purple as the other one, but the labellum with that dark red and then the orange shading. It's really nice. So continuing on, number of plants here. We have, here is the Princess Paula, a really pretty flower too, white with the red and orange labellum. That's super cute. Those don't seem to be in flower at this time. Then we have something different. This is the Epidendrum Culea. This is Epidendrum Culea. It actually has a red flower. These look like really big plants. I'd love to see that one in bloom. And then finally in the front, we have the Xinying Pink Doll. I love that orange and yellow stripe. It looks like it's actually drawn in there with a chalk or crayon. All right, on this side they have $25 mini cats. These are, I love this bright orange color. These are Cattleya Diane Meyer. Very pretty flowers. And then they have another sale on these. These are $35. This is Morning Glory. Okay, so these are the ones we saw on the other side. I don't see any blooming here, but of course it's a white flower with the purple labellum we saw on the other side. Like many plants here. Very good price too. They're very healthy plants. And then moving down the aisle, we have another one here. This is again the Majestic Light hybrid. And then coming down to the end, we have a Dendrobium, Barada Green Jade Halo. A number of them are in bloom. Let me go and show you the one that has the most blooms. I love these leaves. They have a kind of variegated look. where the outside is white or cream colored. Oh, these flowers are very subtle and really nice color. I really like this one. And especially the leaves, those are crazy. So here's the tag. So those are really nice. I'd have to see what the pricing is, but that's something that would be very unique for a collection. I haven't really seen, so those are 30. I haven't really seen that kind of leaf color before. And here's some more. So they do have these tags that have some description of the flower, of the plant in some cases. Give additional information, both in English and in Spanish. So coming around the other side, we have quite a few dendrobiums here, $35. Very big plants, so that's a pretty good deal. Let's see, this first one is Dendrobium puhala. These are huge plants. So this has kind of the antler type of dendrobium, but this has really pretty small flowers overall. Pretty cute though, if you have a whole array of those growing together. And then here's another different type of antler dendrobium. I'll have to look for the tag on this one. And then they have this pink, white, and green one. That's really pretty. That's Lori Liner. There's a bit of a different view of that one. It's really nice. And then they have more of that other green antler dendrobium. This one is called Chocolate Antler. So it has the brown antlers on the green flower. So they have quite a few of these antler dendrobiums. And then they have this pink and white one. I think I've seen this out in front. This is called Caesar Stripe. Get the tag. And then this last one is Norma Jackson by Discolor. I really like that. That's really nice.
All right, so let's start back on the other side. I think we're about halfway through, and we start off with BLC Little Mermaid. Super nice flowers, multiple flowers per spike. Really pretty, a really pretty orchid. And next to this is for $25. We have another really pretty orchid, the Teeny Treasure. I really like these two. They really look good together. And then we have a yellow and white classic Cattleya Orapalm. And moving down the lane, we have a number of red Cattleyas. This one is called Siam Aurora by Naconchasi Delight, the set. And next we have a big red Cattleya. This one is called Siam City. I think I have seen this in shows. It's really beautiful. Just look at that flower. Wow. And moving along, this next one doesn't have anything in bloom, but I see some with sheaths. So this one is called Anjoy 2. It's a white with a red and orange labellum. Also very cute. And then finally in this row, Haesong Red. Another big red Cattleya. So checking out the next row, we have Memorial Baranapan Nicom, and then Cattleya Portia again. Set of those. And then we have this multicolored Platinum Sun Pachara Fancy. I've seen quite a lot of this in the shows. At the Tamiami Orchid Show, they had a whole field of these kind of orchids for at least $100 per plant. So this has been very popular in the last few years. And very pretty flower, of course. So that's this set, and let's move to the very front. So here we have Hisako Akasuka by Maya's Radiance, a super pretty flower. I think it's almost one of the best so far. And here's the tag. Again, I really like that one. So let's go on to the next row. This is Golden Tang by Richard Mueller. Very vibrant colors, really contrasting colors. It really sets it off. Also very nice, several in bloom. So then we have another big red Cattleya, Suvarnabhumi Magic. And then there's also a plant with smaller blooms. Maybe it's the first bloom, but it has two. And I'm sure those will reach the size of the other one as the plant grows. Moving along, we have the Star of Siam, a red and orange Cattleya. And then Rung Nafa Delight, PS2, followed by Shangding Beauty. And then we have Bow Bell. I think this is the famous white Cattleya. This is followed by Pathum Golod. And then Pathun Fancy. And then the next group is Cattleya Poen Pit by Shengye. And then finally, again, more of the Memoria Vernanapam Nikom. Fill out this row. In the next, we have at least the tag for more of the Poen Pit Shengye. Nice yellow Cattleya. And then another yellow Cattleya Thong Supran. And then something different, an Epidendrum ciliare or steady, which has some spikes. Some of these are in bud, so hopefully some flowers soon. And then Cattleya Boalacea semi-alba. And here's the tag. Ludamaniani Cerulean, one of the most famous Cattleyas, but unfortunately not in bloom. And then we have RLC Digbyana, another famous Cattleya species. So let's go on to the next row. And then in the next row for $45, Brassavola Susan Fuchs. Just look at that beautiful flower. And then up next we have Renanthera Soroa Flamboyant, one of their own hybrids. I just love these flowers. And they have a lot of these blooming sized plants. So that's one of their specialties, I think. After that, we have Renanthera Lion Splendor. Again, very beautiful plants. There's a tag here. I don't think it's that yellow. I think it's a red flower. This is probably faded. And then we have some Mocaris, Aranda White Spot. This is really cute. Next to it, we have Sayan Bang Huntian. Has a beautiful orange bloom. There's the tag. Cyan Bang Huntian. And then moving on, additional Mocaras. This is Mocara Blue Boy Pink. Unfortunately not in bloom at the moment. And then we have Liliananthe Tangangio. Getting a tag for that. And then additional Arandas. This is Aranda Memoria Nuhar Alsagoff Blue. The tag. And then finally we have Renansilis Bangkok Beauty, another orchid with cascading red flowers. All right, jumping over to the mounted orchids in the middle, we have Bulbophyllum phalaenopsis by Cruentum. These plants look just fabulous. And then on the other side, we have Trichonchondrum stacei. I love these green bean leaves. So let's move over back to the other side in the middle. This is Dendrobium Dr. Uthar, Green Rabbit. These flowers are just fantastic. And these are pretty big plants too. Moving along, we have something new. Myrmecocalia Quest Fangbito Rene. This is a hybrid out of Quest Orchids, which is actually pretty close to where I live. Beautiful flowers with the dark red brown petals and very long spikes. They have a lot of these in this row. Here's something about it. And then these go on because they have quite a lot of them. Very beautiful plants and additional ones in spike. Up hanging above them are these very large orchids. I'm not quite sure, there's no tag on them, but that's something. Those have been growing for a long time on those wooden plaques. So that's one of the advantages of Soroa, is they have their orchids in many different types of formats. Again, I think the rest of these are the Quest Orchid, and they look really good. Oh, look who we have here. That cat is so black it sucks away all of the light with the orchid green eyes. So pretty. The cats they have here are very, very friendly. It's always good to play with them. So moving along, again, more of the Myrmecocalia Quest Fangbito Rene. And then moving on to the next row. We have a lot of dendrobiums. I don't see a lot of tags, but they're in these large baskets, wooden baskets. So very large, healthy plants. I'm not sure what this one is. I think it could be Buttercup, but again, it doesn't have a tag. These are very pretty orchids. You can hang them in your patio and have a lot of blooms. They run from 75 to 125. So I see on the other side they have some for sale for 25. Let's go check those out. Again, I'd like to see what the IDs of these orchids are, but I don't see the tags on them in any obvious way. So here we have some tags. This is Kinjara White, and then we have Charming White. This is a really nice flower. I love that creamy colored petal. Again, we have these large baskets. And next we have banana white. And then moving along, we have another set of dendrobiums. These are Maria Arteaga. Then we have an additional collection of the rabbit green dendrobiums. They're so pretty. I think they are also out in the front. I have quite a collection of these dendrobiums. And then this one is, I believe it's Dendrobium bougainvillea by Nida, based on the tag. So that fills out this row, and the next row has their vanilla plants, the Vanilla planifolia. So that fills out the front, and now we can go into the jungle, as I'd say.
All right, so we made it through the front area, and this back area mostly has mounted and hanging orchids, as well as this side is all different types of orchids. The other side is mostly vandas. And so one of the unique things about Soroa is not only do they have all of the cattleya and dendrobiums that are up front, probably over 100 different types. Back here they show many different ways to mount and hang these orchids. So in this area they have Dendrobium lodogicii, both mounted on planks as well as on inverted pots that they hang upside down. So if you have an area where you can hang an orchid, you can come back here and get an idea, both for your own or buy one from here to suit your situation. So not only the different hanging methods, but also the different types of orchids is really interesting. So I just like to wander around back here, see what they have, how they have it fixed up, and then see what's in bloom as well. So here they have an orchid mounted on a slotted wooden frame. This is BLC Hippodamium by Cattleya Smallworld. And then over here we have some more blooms. These are mounted, I think, on a cedar plank. This is Cattleya Summer Spot by going back to the Nodosa. They have quite a few of these in bloom. You can see the variation in color again. And they have other Cattleya mounted on the wooden frames. I see Copper Queen. And then more of the Summer Spot hybrid down this row. That seems to be blooming at the present time. Pretty nice flowers. They have a nice shape, and the coloration on the petals is really pretty nice, pretty unique, and seems to vary quite a bit between the different plants. So that finishes out that row, and then we have more blooming plants here. This is Key Lime Stars. That's a really pretty flower, contrasting colors. And next to that is the Hippodamia. Lip with all those spots is just beautiful. And then we have a really pretty Cattleya too. This is Memoria Anna Balmors. These are mounted in those wooden frames that are horizontal, and they have a ton of those plants. Really look really nice, really big, lots of roots. So it's really fun to walk down these rows and duck in and out of these plants. And then moving on from there, we have additional Cattleyas mounted in the wooden frames. This is the Mini Doris that we saw before, in this case hanging in these wooden frames. And I'm just checking for other flowers. Here's a dendrobium. This is Yaya Splash. Very pretty flower. Let's see if they have more of those, again, hanging in these wooden frames. additional flowers. Here's one on the ground, and this is a very nice Oncidium fascillatum. They grow very well in South Florida. Lots of blooms with minimal care. And next, let's see, what else? So I see more of the Dendrobium yaya in this row. Those are blooming at this time. Very pretty flowers. Let's go to the front again and see all of the different blooming flowers that they have up front. This one is Dendrobium yaya splash. And then they have Oncidium gyrac fragrance. They have, hanging on these metal frames, they have Dendrobium annobile. Very pretty flowers. And a number of those are in bloom. You can see the different variety of flower patterns there. Then continuing to move on, they have Dendrobium griffithinanum, Dendrobium thyriciflorum. These seem to be pendant dendrobiums with lots of blooms. So those are in the holy terracotta pots. And then in these hanging plastic baskets, Silogeny rochachinii, very large plants as well. They're not currently in bloom, but they have large hanging clusters of yellow flowers that are very fragrant. Then we also have Dendrobium fimbriatum. Out front, they have the pictures of these orchids. You can see how the flowers look. Many of these dendrobiums are the kind of the hanging pendant multifloral dendrobiums. They also have Dendrobium farmeri variant, a white one. And then Dendrobium guberti. And then in the row next to that is something a little different, Aggregatum eburneum. And then finally next to that we have Dendrobium cruminatum. So again, a large collection of different formats for hanging these orchids and different hybrids or species. So that's their back area, and now they have their vertically hanging mounted orchids. And we start out with Encyclia Soroa Senat del Pina. It's a really pretty flower with these rust-colored petals and sepals and the lilac lip. And then next up in these wooden frames is Cattleya eclandia alba. And then we have Bulbophyllum arfactanum, then a Dendrobium farmeri pink, and then a Bulbophyllum phalaenopsis by Fascinator. And then finally the Cattleya jungle eyes that we saw up front. Again, check out all of these dendrobiums, and let's go see the other side. This is really a jungle back here in the very back. So this is their back area where they do all of the magic, and really something else. So we start out with, on this side of the wall, I think it's all the same, Dendrobium inocinum. And next to that is Ascrocentrum ampullaceum, and then Vandamotsa dorbs. And then they have Vanda christiansoniana. They have Paraphalaenopsis serpentinolingua by Leikaki, and they have Dendrobium mayaki. So we finished the back wall. Let me see if I can find some blooms. I have to duck under some of this stuff. I see something of color over there. So let me head over there under all of these roots. Let's see how to go. All right, I made it over. These are Arides Lawrencea. Really pretty blooming plants. Long spikes with multiple flowers, these purple and white. We saw these up front in the very front of the nursery. Super pretty, just gorgeous, right? And they have a really nice fragrance too. So now we're in the Vanda area. This is Vandaopsis parishii. And then we have MV Tannins Kirk, AMAOS. Very pretty yellow flower. They have quite a few of those, many of them in bloom. You can see the different ones. Some of them have quite a few flowers. And then in the next row, we have this beautiful reddish pink Vanda, Bangkok Star. I really like that one. That's really nice. I don't have that color, and that would be something I would get for sure. And then next to that, we have Arides Huletiana alba. Oh, I guess I missed one. Let me go back and see this Trichoglottis brachiata. It's got a really pretty dark brown flower. Pretty nice. So they have quite a few of those. And then here they have a Vanda tessellata alba, though it's not in bloom. So let's go back to the other row. Here's a very large Vanda. Don't see the tag on that one. Oh, there it is. It has the label in front of the tag, so I'll have to look it up. Then we have Vanda brownie, another large spotted flower. And then next to that, we have the Vanda yellow butterfly. And then this purple one, I don't see the tag. Some of the tags have the price obscuring the name. And so this one is Tango Fire, another really pretty plant. Many, many blooms on the spike too. So that is really something special too. And they have several of those in bloom. And then we have this beautiful red Han Song Kai by Red Devil. So quite a few different varieties of Vandas here. And they're really quite pretty. So then they have some more vanillas. I see something in the back, let me check that out. And that just about wraps up what we're seeing here. So I don't know how many different orchids that we've seen, probably over 100, maybe 150. Oh wow, look at these. So this is Rhinanthemum Gerald Tan. These are not for sale, but maybe they're holding them for somebody, or they're somebody's plants that they take care of. Those are huge. It's probably, the roots are probably 6 feet or more already, but those are beautiful plants. So that kind of wraps up what we're seeing in their greenhouses. I'll go up to the sales area. Here's the tag on that one. But look at those beautiful flowers. So yeah, I'll go up to the sales area next and we'll check it out.
Well, that was a fun tour. I tried to call out all of the names, even though some of them weren't in bloom. They'll likely bloom by the spring for sure. And I also probably butchered some of the names. But here we are now in the sales area. I did change up the plants, so this would be normally what you would see in the beginning. And as you can see in this display near the nursery, they have Phalaenopsis and Dendrobium and Cattleya orchids for sale. Oh, and there's our friendly little kitty. So coming around past the sales desk, they have their supply area. Oh, look at those two little ones. They're a little bit shy, so I won't corner them in this area. But as you can see, they have pots, they have baskets, and then different types of decorative pots. And then on the other side, they do have some media if you want to purchase it here. And then in this area, they have more Phalaenopsis orchids for $20. Large variety of different ones. I haven't seen this one. I think there are new Phalaenopsis orchids every month. I really like these minis with the magenta and the lime yellow trim. But you can see all of the different ones they have, quite a rainbow of different colors. And then in front of their sales desk, they have these orchids for sale. Again, Dendrobiums, Phalaenopsis, some of these that we had seen inside the nursery, but they have a special sale on this rack. And then they have areas with more formal displays. This is the one that they have set up right now. Really pretty. Different orchids than some of them that we saw inside. So I'll try to point out the ones that we didn't notice before. So they have the Cattleya orchids here. I think we've seen those inside. And then they have this Reconcilus gigantea by Bangkok Sunset, really pretty. And then I don't remember seeing this one. This is the Vanda Plowen Pit Prize. It's a really nice yellow Vanda. And this is also just beautiful. Why not Orglades Gold Strike? And then up here we have RCV David Sander. And then further in the middle around this table they have Vanda Miss Joaquin. These are the ones that we saw out front. Really pretty. And then they have another small display here. They have this specimen bifoliate Cattleya. It's really pretty. I think we have one similar at home, but the lip is not as purple. And then this little display here, where they have Encyclia cochleata. And then they have the Cattleya Plowen Pit Chongye. They had this in the nursery, but I don't think it was in flower there. And then up above they have Garnet Glory, Juno Beach, HCC AOS. And then they have these Phalaenopsis orchids, 4 for $20 or $8 each. So that's a great buy. Usually it's $20 each. They are fully opened, but you can get enough to put together to make a great display. And then again, they have this Arides that we saw inside, the beautiful cascading blooms. And then as you leave, they have this Vanda Chao Prea Violeta. I love those curly petals.
So heading down the other side that I didn't cover in the beginning, we'll show you this part of the garden. Again, in the trees, they have a lot of Vandas and then different tropical plants. There's a ginger that's blooming. They have this little grassy area, which I guess could be for some kind of events, small wedding perhaps. And then in the palms around this, they have a lot of different kinds of Vandas, sun-loving types particularly. So let me go check some of those out. I'm not sure we saw all of these in bloom inside the nursery, so let me see what they have. So again, there's some of the dendrobiums we saw inside. This really nice one. Antler dendrobiums. And then these kind of sun-loving vandas. This area probably gets a lot of sun. So they have these reddish pink. Going along, let's see what else. I see some additional red ones. There's some nice orange one with spots. That's really pretty. I like that one. And then this one, I think this is maybe similar to the one up in the tree. Kind of mamey red, I'd say. It's really pretty. Then heading back towards the path. So that covers this area. Let's go back to the path and follow it along. And I'll show you in this side of the garden, they have these little tree islands that are loaded with different flowers. See some reconcilus in there, and little tables and chairs in this area as well. I haven't actually seen them have food service, but you can come and sit here with a drink. If you bring a picnic or something, you can probably sit here and enjoy it, particularly if the weather is nice. And I suppose they would have some food service. They have a little fountain in this area. In the springtime, there's a lot of plants in bloom, obviously. And different vandas, dendrobiums, cattleyas in these trees. Here there's some. I'll try to highlight them. So this is a nice area. They have the Spanish moss hanging from these trees too, I think for decorative purposes and also to keep some moisture around the roots. Again, some more dendrobiums and cattleyas, purple and yellow. I think I see one other flower up there, so let me get around to it. Let's see, it looks pretty nice. So let's check out this cattleya. Oh, that's really nice. I love that yellow and purple, and then the pink petals. That's one of my favorites. So maybe saving the best for last. So heading back towards the entry. Again, we pass by this building. Let's head back to the path. And then there's additional garden decorative features, some additional plants. This is a very beautiful lily. This is a crinum lily. I think there's also a version called a swamp lily. That's really pretty. Very fragrant too. And then we have this dendrobium, antler dendrobium that we saw earlier.
So that's this side of the garden. Altogether, the garden has a lot of different plants and many beautiful orchids.
Well, I had a great time touring Soroa Orchids. They had beautiful flowers, and they did pick up a couple Tolumnias to start my collection. I'm sure I'll be back, and I'll see them at the Redland Festival in a couple of weeks. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.